Today we're going to look at the Canon R6 with a 24-105 kit lens to see if it's any good for vlogging. Let's go. What's up everybody? Phil with Tech Gear Fun here today at my favorite spot by the pond. I'm sure you can hear the fountain going. We're looking at the Canon R6 as a vlogging camera. We're going to test out a couple modes here. IBIS is on. This is the kit lens, the 24-105 kit lens. We're at f4, 1/50th of a second, and we're shooting at 4K 24p. I've got the Deity D3 Pro mic. I've got auto ISO set, and you'll see the change in exposure as we go here. I want to see how well it exposes for the face. One of the things that I heard is it doesn't do such a great job. And you can see now that my face is definitely overexposed. It tends to expose from the highlights from what I've seen. So if you take the sky out, I think it does a better job, but we'll see. Again, this is with IBIS, and this kit lens has lens stabilization on. Got a Manfrotto Pixie mini tripod, 24 millimeters extended as far as I can go. I'm not really going to do any stabilization test per se, just with IBIS and the regular optical, and then I'll turn on the enhanced or the digital, not the enhanced but just the digital. So this is just IBIS and optical. Take a walk over here. Again, this is 24 millimeters on the 24-105 kit lens, which is an f4 to 7.1, 5.6, 6.3, something like that. Anyway, we're walking on a fairly bumpy trail here. So what I'll do is I'll do this clip. We'll turn on the enhanced, we'll turn on the digital stabilization, and then I'll show you some 1080p footage. It'll be upscaled to 4K. This will be a 4K timeline. I want to see how this does for exposure. Yeah, and not great. The Sony ZV-1, which is my favorite little vlogging camera, does a pretty good job, actually a really good job. So here we are in the shadows. Again, it's auto ISO, 1/50th of a second, f4. Alright, let's switch on to electronic image stabilization, and then we'll do some 1080p clips. Okay, so I've got my Camera Conspiracies t-shirt on, and in true Casey fashion, user error. So that first clip was with digital stabilization on, so I said it wasn't. So that first clip, and I'll make sure that I change it in the titling, but that was with the digital stabilization on. Now this is with the digital image stabilization off, and again just IBIS, and the lens has stabilization in it. So it's a fairly, like I said, a fairly bumpy trail. Looking at the camera, looking at the screen, it looks like it's doing a pretty good job. The IBIS seems to be doing a good job. Again, at 24 millimeters, I know this has some issues potentially with wide angle. I've seen the 15 to 35 footage, but I figure this is a kit. A lot of people will end up ordering it with this kit. It's fairly heavy. You keep switching hands. But this is what you might be able to do with it, and I'll show you, I'll zoom in a little bit to give you an idea on the zoom range here, but now we're in the sunlight and you can see that I'm overexposed, and now I think it finally caught up. So the auto exposure does seem to take a little bit. It does seem to get it right for the most part, but not necessarily very quickly. And there's a web on my lens. Okay, all right, so what I'll do now is I'm gonna just zoom in on the fountain. From here we'll be at 24, and then we'll go to 105 just to give you an idea on what this zoom can do. Alright, I can confirm it's 7.1 on the long end, so when we're at 105 there, it is the aperture maximum, the aperture is 7.1. So Again, you saw kind of what the zoom range was. It's a pretty good zoom range. This is a, you know, the 24 to 105 has been around for a while. This is the cheaper one. It's like a $300 add-on if you buy the kit. So instead of 2,500, it's 2,800, I think, something like that. But here we are in the shadows, and man, these colors are real. So this is a standard profile. I'm not going to do any video editing whatsoever. And again, the sound is coming from the D3 Pro. All right, so what I'll do now is I will do some 1080p footage for you, and you can see how that looks in 1080p. And it'll be 1080p with the digital stabilization off, just so you can have an idea on what it does with 1080p footage. Okay, so that was interesting. I'm going to leave that in there. So the camera just stopped recording, shut down. 1080p, not really. I mean, no overheating warning, shouldn't be in 1080p anyway. I didn't see any reason why the camera should shut down, but in the middle of that thought, in the middle of that sentence, it shut down. So, not sure why. Something to keep an eye on for sure if you need reliability. If that was in the middle of an interview, that would be kind of not great. So again, 1080p, 24 frames per second, 1/50th, f4, and that's it. So I showed you 4K with IBIS, and then with the digital stabilization. Also, this is 1080p. Let's go ahead and wrap up just this look at the R6 and the 24 to 105 kit lens. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that look. Again, the camera did shut down for some reason in 1080p. Not sure why. Check the exposure again, but that was the Canon R6, a couple different modes with the 24 to 105 kit lens, the inexpensive f4 to f7.1. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for taking the time to watch it. Get out there and enjoy your technology. Have some tech gear fun. I will talk at you again in the next one.